It's Coffin is Alive. I look at comic books new and old. Today I'm looking at a new comic book, the Absolute Batman Annual 2025. These are the pages that are all going around. This seems like a pretty important comic book during this time. A controversial comic, I guess. Topical. I don't really know why it's too controversial, though. It's Batman beating up a bunch of white supremacists. He's breaking the arm of this white supremacist, doing a white power salute here in this double page splash there. He's doing the white power. Batman comes right in, breaks his arm. We've got Daniel Warren Johnson doing the artwork in this comic book. He's released a piece a couple weeks ago that was a bit controversial, I guess. It was Batman putting a chokehold on an ICE agent. And here we see on this page, he's actually doing AEW wrestler Kenny Omega's finishing move, the one-wing angel, to this police officer here. Although we do learn earlier in this issue that these police officers are actually working with the white supremacists. So it's not just, Batman beating up police officers for no reason. He's actually got a reason for it. It's a V-trigger knee on this guy here, trying to save this kid who's got the gun pointed at his head. Batman throws the batarangs right into this dude's eyes there. And despite all the graphic violence going on here, the real hardcore violence that Batman is distributing to all of these white supremacists, if you read between the lines, he's actually not killing them, even though it kind of looks like it in some of the pages. But right here at the very beginning of the stories, we see Bruce, and this is taking place sort of like an origin story, a prequel to everything that's been going on in the rest of the Absolute Batman books. But we see Bruce trying to put together a bit of an arsenal here. So he's on the outskirts of town, trying to buy some weapons from this individual. When he sees these group of guys in pig masks here, and they're all terrorizing this mother and child, saying, "This town belongs to us. You're the stranger here. Get ready for a beating," he says. As next moment, he gets punched right in the face by Bruce there. And then the guy who Bruce was just buying the weapons from comes from behind and hits Bruce right in the back of the head with a wrench there. We see DJ, who's kind of the leader of all these guys, and he's the guy who eventually gets his arm broken here. But it's obvious parallels between things going on in society today and what's happening here. This is definitely sort of an allegory for our current time, I feel like. So they start beating down Bruce here, and then a priest jumps in to cover Bruce up to try and stop them. He's yelling, "Stop." The father saying, "Jeffrey, I've known you since before you could walk. This is not you." We see Jeffrey's face here. DJ tells them to leave those bitches on the ground. Let's do what we came here to do. And what they're going to do is go down to this homeless camp where all these illegal immigrants are staying. We're not really sure who they are. They're just not welcome in the society here. We see DJ and the other white supremacists meet up with the police here. The police saying, "We can't let you do this." And then they take a beat, and then they both start laughing, and they put their masks on. He says, "Good to have you here, brothers. Good to have you all here. Now let's go clean this town up." And you see the really ugly faces he puts on this DJ guy. Very anime style. Looks like something from Akira or Death Note. So they start beating up all these homeless people in tents down here. And then he gives the white power salute. And that's when Batman comes in, breaks his arm. Batman starts taking out all of the white supremacists here. The artwork in here is just spectacular. I really like this panel. Batman just looking like just terror on the horizon coming for this guy. He shoots at Batman to no effect, just smashing his face in. I love whenever we see Batman punching these guys' faces in, he just draws their faces looking like putty, like there's just nothing in them. I like how this story is told too, because right at the beginning here, we get a little short scene with Bruce and his dad. We see extremist bombing here in the paper. Bruce is just trying to make sense of the world here, and his dad is saying that, I don't know, I'm just one person. I don't know how to fix the world, but I know what I'm good at: teaching, he says. Maybe one day one of my students won't make these same mistakes these people made. Cool panel there of absolute Batman. And then he asks Bruce, what about you, kiddo? What will you do? And then we see what he's going to do. So we already see the conclusion of this story here on the second page. And then we spend the rest of the story getting to this point. But as I was kind of getting at earlier, we see that Batman's not actually killing these dudes. He's definitely maiming them. He's, disabling them to a permanent degree for sure. But we actually see that throughout all here, I don't see him actually kill anybody. I suppose it could be left up to interpretation. Let me know what you guys think. But the priest, again, trying to stop the killing from happening here. The priest explaining to Batman, this isn't the way. And then we get another awesome page with Batman going, this is my way. Pointing at himself here with the rain coming down, the lightning in the background. I love the color on this splash page too, the red. So awesome. So the white supremacists retreat, and then this story is also kind of the origin of the absolute Batmobile, this giant dump truck that Batman uses as his Batmobile. He kind of comes upon it here and seems to use it for the first time, runs it right into their building. We get another awesome double splash page. Daniel Warren Johnson absolutely killing it in this book. This is definitely some of my favorite stuff I've seen all year. Daniel Warren Johnson was the artist on Transformers. He was doing the writing and art on there, along with, I believe it was it Jorge Corona doing the artwork on some of those other issues as well. And also Do a Power Bomb by Daniel Warren Johnson. I definitely recommend picking up Do a Power Bomb. If you like pro wrestling and comic books, this is a perfect combination. We see a little bit of that here. That kind of stuff he was doing in Do a Power Bomb here in this book, like when he gives the one-winged angel to this guy here, for instance. But again, we see he's swinging axes. He's got a blowtorch, but we never actually see him killing anybody. All these guys look scared. They're all ducking. When he does the blowtorch, he's severely burning him. We see this one guy get burned, but then we see the priest actually administering first aid to him, trying to keep him alive. Batman asking why, and he says, you have your way and I have mine. So I like that it's also kind of left ambiguous, like maybe what Batman is doing is not the right way, but it's just his way. Batman is not perfect, and I think they're kind of trying to show that here in this issue. Maybe the way that this Batman is doing things isn't the right way. We go back to the flashback to Bruce and his dad, and he's saying his dad did some cool stuff when he was younger, and he says, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to be just like you, he says. Then we see Batman. He's in the distance now, looking upon all the destruction he's created here tonight. And he's remembering again what his dad said. And then we see that his dad and the priest actually knew each other, and they were both standing up to masked gunmen and fascism previously, years ago. And we see earlier in the book as well, the priest talking to Bruce and showing him the same photograph So I like that callback here at the end of this issue. Some awesome, I love this Batman little portrait there. And this whole page is really great. A lot of heart amongst all this violence. He says, I know who you are deep down. You have a strong and compassionate heart. All you have to do is be yourself no matter what you do. And I'll always be proud of you. And we see Bruce here completely broken down in front of his giant bat dozer, or whatever you want to call it, the Batmobile. But another awesome splash page to close this issue. A great little, lesson at the end as well, to always be yourself. So a great first story. One of my favorite things I've read all year. Timely as well, like I said, very relevant to everything going on in society right now. This whole little encampment is called Slaughter Swamp 2, which I think is also pretty obviously a little wink and a nod to Alligator Alcatraz. So, but that's not the only story in here. We got a second story here by James Harren, and I really like this second story. I almost like it even more. The artwork in here is excellent. It's got a real Tim Sale feel to it. Feels like The Last Halloween or something. And it's left kind of ambiguous, but it seems like this second story is just taking place right after the first story. They don't explicitly say that, but it seems like these characters are coming almost directly from this confrontation with Bruce. Or I guess it could be some other confrontation with Batman, but this character is leading them into his old house. He sees pictures of his family. They're starting to put together some weapons, grabbing anything they can. They're putting together some sort of acid chemical concoction on the stove here. And then that's when his dad comes out with the shotgun. He says, "What have you done now, Victor?" And he's like, "I didn't know you were home, Dad." And they have a little bit of a reunion. He's saying that his wife has died. She went quickly, and that's why he's back. He goes, "You old stupid bastard." He just starts yelling at his dad. We see these guards on the rooftop here, but then we see Batman comes and takes them out silently here on this page. Love the cape on here. Little spirals coming out of the cape. This Batman kind of reminds me of Spawn too, to be honest with you, especially the way he deals with, white supremacists and just violently takes everybody out and is moving around in the shadows. Reminds me a lot of Spawn. But then suddenly these guys, they all just attack his dad because they're evil, horrible people. And they're trying to get more guns. He says they're in the safe behind the bar. And we see Jeffrey, he's just kind of standing back, letting them do this to his dad. He's kind of frozen, doesn't know what to do. And then they all look at him and they call him their fearless leader. So he's just kind of like, all right, I guess I've got no choice. So finally they're confronted by Batman here. He breaks into the house coming after them. And this is the part where I feel like they're kind of tying it back into the first story, because we see this one guy here. He says, "You burned me once, you sumbitch." And he suck holy flame. And this guy's going after Batman, claiming that he burned him. So I wonder if this guy is actually this guy right here who gets burned in the first story. And this Batman looks so cool though. He just looks like this spider monster coming out of a hole here. He's got these giant looking arms that are just part of his cape. A really creepy looking Batman, almost like Sam Keith-esque, like the Max or something. So these guys get into a fight. Batman's actually able to put a leg choke in an arm bar on this guy. And he's ingested some chemicals too, so he's losing his mind. This bad guy is. He says, "I am the sex organs of machine angels. What are you?" just bizarre insanity here. So he just throws Batman, and they pick up this chemical vat and they're going to throw it at Batman, but his cape, one of the tendrils from the cape grabs it and throws it back at the big hulking guy. And then he has got some grenades. He drops the pins. He says, sunburn to make light and cast out the dark. So he's going to sacrifice himself. Batman, we see, jumping out of the way. There's a big boom. We see Batman surviving it. And then in the final panel, the father from earlier comes to his son, finds him here. He says, you're okay. You're all right, kid. So he's actually proud of what his son has done tonight, which is just sick. And then we see him holding his son and actually, I guess, forgiving him underneath the Holy Mary there. So some very ambiguous, conclusions to both of these stories, but I absolutely love it. Great cover here by Daniel Warren Johnson too. I hadn't even brought that up yet. Got Batman one-on-one with hundreds of these hooded white supremacists here. I like how they all have different weapons. This guy's got knives. We got a baseball bat, a giant pipe. He's got a barbed wire baseball bat. They got torches. Very similar to the Charlottesville rally that happened years ago. So, I mean, this comic definitely brings up images of things that are happening currently. So, a very important comic book. There's also another short story in the back, just like a little 2-page Let's Learn About Bats story here by Meredith McClaren. Some bats can fly up to 250 miles in a single night. Vampire bats will frequently share their meals with other hungry bats. Bats are excellent pest controllers, and we kind of see how this all relates to our Batman as well, as we learn all these bat facts. It says bats are social creatures. They survive best in numbers. And that leads us right into an interview with Joshua Williamson here, talking about the KO Night Fight issue that's about to come out, where all the Batmen and Robins and everybody are going to be fighting as a part of the DC KO tournament. It says, how does working on Nightfall with Dan Mora differ from your collaboration on Superman? He says, Dan is incredible, a legend, and an amazing creative partner. Because these issues are so fight heavy, I leave a lot of room in the scripts for him to go wild. He's also designing entirely new worlds, new costumes, new versions of Gotham, and a new Batman. We're still aiming to have a ton of fun with it, and Dan always delivers on that front. And it says, without giving too much away, are there any standout moments you're especially excited for fans to experience? He says, every issue has a big moment. There are a few that I think will absolutely blow readers' minds and leave them wishing these new worlds were real. I think about that a lot in comic books. Whenever they create these new worlds, I wish they were permanent and real. And they always are just these little Elseworld stories. But there's certainly an argument to be made that this isn't Batman. I've seen a lot of longtime Batman fans complain, and maybe rightfully so, that this isn't for them. And that's totally cool. To me, I'm absolutely, pun intended, loving this Batman. It reminds me of like if we had gotten like an extreme 90s version of Batman, which we really didn't get. We've had the campy Adam West Batman. We've had Old Man Batman from The Dark Knight Returns, futuristic Batman, Batman Beyond, but we've never had this really like extreme version of Batman. So for that, I really appreciate this whole series for what they're doing here, and just giving us this version of Batman we've really never seen before. So I really love the pouches on here too on Batman. I just noticed those. That's really cool. Let me know what you guys think. Have you picked this up yet? Have you read it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and please subscribe if you've made it this far. I'll see you guys on the next one. Go read comics.